Welcome to Duo Chat with Brittany and Cynthia, where we talk about drama shows from shows ranging from the 90s to today.
Hi everyone, I'm Brittany,
And I'm Cynthia.
and today we're talking about season 6, episode 20, titled Catch 22, air date April 23rd, 2003, and the synopsis is
Eddie proposes him and Joey go backpacking through Europe before going their separate ways for college. Reluctant at first to jump so suddenly, Joey decides to go, only to find a goodbye note from Eddie, this time for good. Elsewhere, David breaks up with Jack, who ponders if he was only with David to prove to himself that he could hold a steady relationship. Then the biotech stocks that Pacey and Dawson were investing in go bankrupt.
you know, if
Mm.
I thought that I hated the last episode, I hate this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Pacey is sitting at a restaurant by himself at first until Sadia walks in.
Ugh. Not here for it. Um, so when she said, "Oh, what took you so long
Mm-hmm.
to call her, whatever?" Eh, he said something about like otherwise engaged in
Oh,
what?
yeah, he was just joking, like engaged in another relationship, I think.
It's like you weren't engaged, buddy.
Yeah, just relationship.
I don't like these two together, so I was really annoyed. But I also knew that this was coming too.
Hmm.
But I
Hmm.
also look at it like if Joey is with Eddie,
Hmm.
I mean, what's he gonna do? Spend the rest of his life waiting for her?
Hmm.
Especially when she said to him that this doesn't feel right.
Right.
I mean, what's the person supposed to do?
Hmm.
Um, I mean, even though I want them together, but I don't know. I just don't want him sleeping around. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, if he's gonna be with somebody, be with somebody. He's not that type of guy. So I don't want him to revert back to someone else or his past, instead of being the man that he is.
Hmm.
And that's what this episode is. He's not the Pacey that we love.
Right.
And I'm not here for it. I mean, what did you think of this whole opening? Thank God it was only like 30 seconds. Like it wasn't a long opening.
Hmm. Yeah, well, I wasn't surprised since they seemed to have something before. So,
But did they really?
yeah, there was something there when
You
they were
felt something?
interacting.
Cynthia. Hey, I have a question though. Do you
Mm.
want Pacey and Joey together? Or do you want Eddie and Joey together? I mean,
I don't know. Joey can't make up her mind, so I don't know.
I know, isn't she really annoying?
Hmm.
Like, make up your goddamn mind.
Right.
Hmm.
And then after the theme song, Eddie and Joey are in her dorm room talking about Catch 22 that she has to read for Hudson's class.
Which isn't
And
like, isn't the exam like tomorrow?
something like that, yeah.
I'm really surprised in Joey because the last time, we had to watch her study,
Hmm.
she didn't want to be bothered by anybody.
Right.
And here, Eddie is, he's there. So of course, he's in the way of her studying. Even though he's trying to tell her to study, but I mean, he's still in the room, so he's still a distraction. And she's
Hmm.
allowing it.
Right.
The Joey that we have seen doesn't allow stuff like that. So it threw me off because I'm like, why is he there when she's studying? I mean, she wouldn't let anybody else be.
Hmm.
And the only reason why Audrey's allowed there is because she lives there.
Right.
But I don't know. It's just he's a distraction. Even though I know he wasn't trying to be, he just was. And
Hmm.
he's living with her in her dorm. Is that even legal?
Probably not. Well,
I mean, she's paying for room and board, but well, he's not.
Right. Yeah, you have to be married to live in a dorm together.
Yeah. And not with Audrey.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm surprised that Audrey is allowing it because Audrey doesn't like Eddie.
Right.
I'm surprised she didn't like say something.
Yeah, but she likes Joey, so
Yeah, but I wish she, at this point, because, Eddie should just not have come back. I wish she would say something. You know what I mean? Like,
mm-hmm.
be the voice of reason for all of us.
Right.
So when Audrey comes in and she was saying that she got kicked out and stuff, first of all, my first thought was like, well, what did you expect?
Right.
You first didn't attend classes when school started, and
Mm-hmm.
then you were drunk, for a few months, and then you went to rehab.
Mm-hmm.
This whole school year, you haven't even attended that I know of. So I was like, so what did you expect them to do? Hold your
Right.
spot forever and pass you? That's not
Mm-hmm.
how it works. Well, never mind. Okay, that's how some people work.
Mm-hmm.
They can get away with that. But I just was like, what did you think was gonna happen? And also, um, then Joey looks at it and was like, no, this is just the dean telling you that you can go to summer school.
Mm-hmm.
Audrey's gonna go to summer school.
Right.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Um, don't you think that she could just do I don't know. Do you think summer school would really cover everything?
I don't know, it depends on the classes she missed, I guess.
I mean, the girls missed the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
So that was weird. And also, I have a question for you, Cynthia.
Mm-hmm.
Joey's studying for Hudson's class.
Right.
She's been taking this class all year.
Mm-hmm.
She also took Wilder's class like all year.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it's only by semester.
Um, they didn't go into the specifics, but like if it was like more an advanced writing class the second semester, that would make sense to why she had it for a whole year, but besides that, it doesn't.
No, because she has these classes I know, I would think it would be like Jack and Jen when their little pop culture class, obviously that ended.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it'd be something like that where it's like quick, a couple episodes because it's a semester and then it was over. But no,
Mm-hmm.
we've had this professor all year now.
Right.
And I thought it was, yeah, it just threw me off because I was like, weren't you supposed to be done with this class like January?
Right.
It's kind of weird. Well, and it seems like she's in the same class, like with the same kids, so it's just weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Audrey is gonna go to the dean and try and negotiate about her summer school.
Well, what does she have to if there's already a letter, why does she need to negotiate?
But she doesn't want to do any of it.
How does she think she's gonna get a degree?
I don't know. And what too, so
I know. This is what their sophomore year, the end of it.
mm-hmm.
Shouldn't she know what she's gonna do?
Yeah.
Well, never mind. I think I know what Audrey's gonna do. Well, I think I
Okay.
know what she wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
Marry someone rich.
Yeah.
I don't really, because if she really cared like an ounce of school, she would put a little more thought into it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but all she wants to do is party, and well, that leads to clearly marrying someone rich in her eyes. I mean, that's what her
Mm-hmm.
mom did.
Right.
So, I mean, what else? What other role model does she have?
Mm-hmm.
Joey, they come from two different worlds.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But I just think it's like she's gonna negotiate not doing the work.
Right.
I kind of in this episode, I
Mm-hmm.
wish I would have seen that. Like the dean and Audrey going back and forth. That would have been so entertaining to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why in this episode, because it was so bad, why couldn't they put that in there?
I know.
It would have entertained me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Eddie asked Joey to remind him why she's friends with Audrey, and Joey said that she saved her life in a bar in Calcutta. Now, what was that now? Was that with
Uh,
Charlie? Like the first time
poss-
they met him, or she met him, Joey, and she performed on
Possibly, but
stage?
Audrey left him. I mean, left her.
Yeah, so I don't know what she was talking about when she said this.
Because remember when she went to get a drink and Charlie was hitting on her?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
that night she ended up kissing Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah, so I
don't
don't know
need.
what she was talking about.
Yeah, when she said that she saved her life, I was like, hmm? I mean,
Hmm.
Joey has saved Audrey's life a few times, but
Hmm.
yeah, that threw me off too. I don't know what she's talking about.
Right. And then Joey brings up the fact that after the end of the week, she won't have her dorm room for them to stay in anymore. And Eddie jokes that they'll live in his car that's parked by the river.
Eh. I mean, he can go live in his car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then she brings up going to Cape Side.
Yep, been living at the B&B and saving up money with summer jobs. And Eddie doesn't want to do it because he doesn't want to deal with her dad.
Yeah, saying like, what are you doing with the rest of your life?
Even though he is going to the writing school in the fall.
Which again, I still don't think Mr. Potter has any like he can't say anything.
Hmm.
It's not like it's Mitch. It's Mr. Potter who's been to prison now twice.
Hmm. And Eddie says that since they're going to be apart in 3 months, he doesn't want to spend time bussing tables at jobs. He has bigger plans in mind, but he doesn't tell Joey until after the exam. And then at the call center, we see, um, I thought this was going to come back again, another book, little snippet of a book. It was somebody holding a book with inside the title, or inside the page was titled When Bad Things Happen to Happy People. And the book is called Authentic Happiness. And it is a real book that was released in 2002. I thought maybe Jen was reading that book um, because of Graham's diagnosis, maybe. I don't know. But that book never came back around and we didn't see who was reading it. So I don't know why they put these books in unless it's like a sponsored thing. I don't know. But
Well, I think it might be like a reference.
yeah, I don't know to what though.
Well, like you said, Jen.
I know, it was never like mentioned to connect it. So I was just wondering. Hmm. And then David walks in. Nope, no, I'm sorry. Jack walks in when David's there because he wants to talk to him about what happened the other day. But David won't really give him the chance to talk. And that's when Jack says, give him the same chance that he would at a stranger on a call. And then Jack brings up maybe they should meet tomorrow at Hell's Kitchen to talk. And they plan about to meet up about 9 because David works until 9. And it does look like he's going to go. So things
Eh,
are
I
slightly
don't
damp
really
breaking.
know. I thought it was over last episode.
Mm,
I don't know why we had to have a whole episode of them. Like that's just like filler. I don't think they knew what to do with Jack, so let's bring David back. I mean, they already ended. I don't get it.
Well, they didn't really end. David said just to think about whether Jack wants to be in a
They ended.
relationship or not.
There was nothing left of that.
Okay. And then Pacey walks into the
Okay,
board.
I do not understand this at all. Pacey walks in
Hmm.
and tells everyone that he had sex.
Right.
Uh, what? And then to come to find out, it's all these little, newbies that he was just newbie just a couple of months ago.
Hmm.
It was very weird. And then, then he goes on and on about a speech, kind of like Rich did.
Hmm.
And he said, "Do not come into my building." Like if you're going to be late. And I was like, "Your building?
Hmm.
You just work there. And also you're still a newbie." Um, and then, he talks to Rich, and Rich was like, "Oh, how was it?" And he was like, "Oh, learn from the best or whatever." I'm like,
Hmm.
if that's what you're trying to be, no, no, thank you. I don't want
Hmm.
him being rich. Rich is a
Hmm.
jerk.
Hmm.
I mean, what did you think when he just walked in and said that to everybody?
Yeah, it was shocking.
Well, especially because usually Pacey keeps his mouth shut about that.
Hmm.
So that's how I was like, oh, I don't like this episode at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you doing to our favorite character?
Yeah, he just turned into a little rich clown.
I mean, I'm not saying he's your favorite character. I'm just saying he's majority of people's favorite character.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Rich asks about Pacey's date with Sadia and that he closed the deal.
Gross.
And then the next morning, Pacey and Sadia wake up in bed and they start kissing until Pacey turns on the TV. He's looking at the news about the investment, and Sadia doesn't like how he's distracted. So they do eventually start kissing again, and then he turns off the TV just when it looked like they're going to announce something.
Um, did you hear her though? She said that she has one of those, a boyfriend.
Right. Yeah.
And then she brings up, you know, this girl in Pacey's life.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, she's a past life. She's in a past life. Blah. I don't like it. But I don't, this is what I don't like. She said she has a boyfriend
Right.
and you are continuing to sleep with her.
Mm-hmm.
I, I don't, I don't like it because that's not the Pacey that we love.
Right.
What do you think of him sleeping with someone that just said they have a boyfriend?
Yeah, it was out of character for him.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Drew would do it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but
definitely.
but that's it. I mean, none of our main guys would.
Mm-hmm. And then Joey and Eddie are in Hudson's classroom. They got there 2 hours early, so Joey won't be late this time.
Um, you know what I thought was funny?
Hmm.
Was when Hudson comes in and he goes, "Well, if it isn't Bonnie and Clyde."
Right.
I was like, "Oh my God." But what threw me off is that Joey and Hudson have been getting along
Right.
because of Harley.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it this episode he is throwing digs? Do you know what I
At
mean?
at Joey.
Yeah.
Like
It
when.
seemed like he didn't like her in this episode, and it bothered me because like he's still giving her a hard time, and it's like I thought this whole thing was over. Like you guys finally got it to a new place. It's good. Let's move on. But it just seems like he's not, I don't know. I don't know if it's because he saw Eddie, so it's like, all right, I'm gonna start throwing digs now. But I just was like, I thought we moved past this whole thing.
Yeah, it could have been Eddie.
Well, you know how much he loves Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it looked like she had food.
Oh, I didn't see that.
She had a bag that she was moving, like it was probably maybe donuts or something. You're allowed to bring food to class.
No.
Don't you think all the students would be like, "Can I have one?"
Right.
And it would be a distraction because that's all you smell.
Mm-hmm. And then Eddie tells Joey that he did never get the chance to thank Hudson for that recommendation and getting him in the program. So he tries to go over and talk to Hudson about it, even brings him one of the coffees.
So when Joey says don't do it,
Mm-hmm.
Mike, I don't understand this because I'm like, he wants to be the bigger person. He wants to apologize or, say thank you, not apologize,
Mm-hmm.
but say thank you. I don't get why she is telling him no and all of this.
I
Let
guess
him
because
do what
she
he
knows.
wants. He wants to say thank you, so just shut up and let him. I don't get it.
Mm-hmm. I guess because she knows Hudson and knows what he'll do if he sees Eddie.
What's he gonna do? He never threw the first punch.
Well, yeah, but with his words, he can do that sometimes.
Yeah, but Eddie even said, I'm not gonna punch him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
but
Hudson.
I I don't know. I feel like they've both sort of grown. I know it doesn't seem like it in the episode, but I don't know. That's what I mean. The writing is off for these two. I mean, they should be able to have a nice little 2-second conversation. You know what I mean? After
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Maybe, yeah.
Like move past it, people.
Mm-hmm. Because, well, Eddie starts it off with he kind of thought, so Hudson points that out because it's like he's an English teacher, so it makes sense that he would critique Eddie's choice of words. So then Eddie gets mad just because of that and tries to say it again. And then, you know, Hudson doesn't really just give him like a kind reaction or response. So he just gives up basically. And he tells Hudson that he'll just abandon the whole concept of saying thank you. And that's when Joey intervenes. And then Joey has to like in between them and he's pointing at Hudson like he started it and she's like, tell me when you return back from the third grade and telling Hudson that's not that hard to say thank you and everything. So he finally does and that settles the matter. So and then at Pacey's workplace, Dawson calls him and
And
Dawson's
Dawson's painting.
yeah.
Um, do you think he's painting the room so that he could film in there?
Hmm. Yeah. So they're
Um,
talking about the investment.
so Dawson wants him to pull the money
Hmm.
um because he needs to buy the film equipment.
Hmm.
Uh and Pacey goes on, oh, just stay in it for a little bit longer. Um, Dawson says, I trust you.
Hmm.
Nah, does he really?
Yeah, it seemed like it, yeah.
I don't know. It was like I trust you. I'm like, what, Dawson? Do you really trust him? Uh, I mean, Pacey's still new to this, so
Hmm.
which again is why you don't go and invest money with your friends.
Hmm.
Especially with the newbie.
It's probably because Dawson has seen what Pacey's done, getting that car and everything and his suits and all that. So he thinks just from that he's doing a good job.
Yeah, he was getting raises, but that means nothing. It can all be taken away too, which is what I've said in the past. Oh, yeah, he's got money, but tomorrow he might be broke.
Right. And then back with Eddie and Joey, Joey does end up well, he feels like she aced her final just from after we're taking it. And to celebrate, Eddie finally shows her the surprise, which is a backpack, and
It was
she
funny
thinks,
because it was
yeah,
funny though, because he goes, I wrapped it, the gift, and she's like, it's your book bag. And I was like,
mhm,
boy, you didn't wrap anything.
right.
And then she opens it up and it's a book
Hmm.
of Europe.
Yep. How to Europe on $5. I wonder if that could even be true today. Probably not. More like 20, maybe. And then Eddie explains, that she could have, how she's always saying she could have gone to Paris. So now he thinks it's time for actually to go there and everywhere else
You
in
know,
Europe.
he must not know Joey at all because that girl ain't going to Europe.
Hmm.
I was
But she
like,
says,
because all she does is go right back to Cape Side and then go to like she doesn't do anything else. She's not, like the other ones.
hmm,
So I was like, she's had chances to go. She
hmm.
doesn't go, so I don't know why Eddie thinks that all of a sudden because of him she's gonna go. I don't get it. That's not Joey.
Well, you never know. She won that boat with Pacey.
Uh, you're gonna compare Pacey and Eddie?
I'm just saying if she's going to go somewhere with Pacey, then she could go somewhere with Eddie too.
No. No, because the two of them ended up getting jobs when they were living on the boat
Right.
to survive. What are these two nut jobs gonna do?
Follow that book
At least
somehow.
somewhat the whole living on the boat was somewhat realistic because they did get jobs.
Hmm.
But uh, how you don't have money. How are you gonna live in Europe?
Right.
This is what I mean. This is not realistic. And
Hmm.
also, she knew Pacey her whole life. That's the difference.
Hmm.
She hasn't known Eddie that long, and he keeps leaving her. How does she know he's not gonna just abandon her in Europe?
Right.
Hello, they're not the same people. Hey, do not compare Pacey to Eddie.
Well, Joey does say yes in this moment.
Yeah, she says yes, but she really means no.
And then at Hell's Kitchen, David walks up to the window outside and sees Jack talking to a guy. So he's already met about that already. Then he
They
walks
are not
in.
together. Ugh,
Well, technically,
David,
they
David.
still are in the moment.
They're hanging on by a very small piece of thread.
Hmm. And then Jack does explain the guy was from his sociology class. And
Say that 3 times.
no. And then David says he saw that. And, Jack tries to say that's not what he thinks that it was. It's innocent. And David points out, oh, so that's what happened yesterday with Fred. And they get into an argument about that again.
Yesterday? This whole thing was yesterday?
No, I mean, with Fred was yesterday or the day before, whatever the event,
Yeah, so the
fundraiser.
event was just yesterday.
I don't know. I'm just guessing. Or
Oh,
two
you
days
said
ago,
it.
maybe. I don't know. I'm just guessing. It's hard to tell the timeline sometimes. And then, Jack said that he made up his own version of this and he's the bad guy. And David actually says, yeah. And then he goes on to say that Jack led him on when they met at the Halloween party and, led him to believe uh, he was one of the undead, like a real vampire. And David says he had a serious Tom Cruise slash vampire LSAT fantasy.
You know, about this, I really wonder, like somebody in that writing room
Hmm.
was obsessed with Tom Cruise. That's
Right.
all I know because through this whole show, it's been nothing but Tom Cruise.
Hmm. Did he even
I'm
ever,
like, huh?
did he ever play a vampire?
I don't know. I don't watch Tom Cruise movies. Hey, he is way past my generation.
Yeah.
Girl, I'm
So
not that
apparently,
old.
yeah.
Do
So
you watch do
apparently,
you do you watch Tom Cruise movies?
I've probably seen one or two. I just can't remember what they are at the moment.
What so
And
you've seen
then,
what Mission Impossible?
no, I know of it, but no.
See, here's the thing. I don't watch his movies because I don't care for those kind of movies.
Hmm.
So they're not my kind of movies, so I don't watch them.
Hmm.
But all I know is in this writer's room, somebody was obsessed with it, and then others went along with it because somebody approved all these references.
Right.
You know what we should have done? See, I didn't realize how many times they brought up Tom Cruise. They really should have. We really should have done a tally through all the episodes, and then in the
Hmm.
end said how many times they've referenced Tom Cruise because it's a lot.
Hmm.
You know, you could play a drinking game and you'd get drunk.
Yeah. I think it was just because he was a famous actor during this time.
Was he the only one in this time? Because he's the only one like ever mentioned.
Hmm.
So there was no other actor, no other A-list celebrity. Okay.
I guess, yeah. But this is David's reason why he wants to break up with Jack because apparently he still has that fantasy he wants to
Um,
fulfill.
I have another thing about David.
Hmm.
He what I don't get is because he said that Jack kind of like led him on from the start. I remember Jack standing him up to be with that professor guy that he had a
Hmm.
crush on.
Right.
And David knew that.
Hmm.
And because I remember saying in that episode, why would David, like, I didn't like that David just was like, oh, okay,
Hmm.
cool, you stood me up. Let's go get coffee or whatever. And I was like, what? It- Someone just stood you up and you're going to still talk to this person? Like, I didn't understand that then. And
Hmm.
so for him to say, you led me on, bull crap. He showed you that night who he was. And
Hmm.
you didn't believe him. So guess what, David? This is on you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I'm so tired of people not just opening. I don't get it. Jack has
Hmm.
never led him on because Jack has just showed him who he is. Look at somebody's actions, please, because that will tell you who they are.
Hmm.
I mean, what did you think? Did you think Jack has been hiding who he is?
Mm, kind of. Yeah, maybe.
I also think the other part is it's very hard to really examine this relationship because we haven't really seen the relationship.
Hmm.
Because Jack hasn't even really been a part of season 6,
Right.
which means David hasn't been a part of season 6. So we only get little pieces of this relationship every couple episodes. And Jack was in, he was out of last, 4. So then all of a sudden you see them again. It's like, oh, I forgot they're together. I
Hmm.
don't, if I'm supposed to judge these two, I want to be able to watch them.
Right.
So it's very hard to even say whose side you're on because I haven't seen them together.
Hmm.
It's just like CJ and Jen. I can't really talk about them because we don't see them.
Right.
So the only couple they're really focused on is Eddie and Joey,
Hmm.
and I don't get it.
Right.
But you know
Jack
what I
just.
thought? But you know what I thought was funny about David
Mm,
was when he said, "I want to be important to someone." Well, don't we all, David?
mm-hmm. Yeah, and that Jack was just going through the motions of relationship just because he thought it was the right thing to do. And David just says it's not good enough for him. But, Jack keeps trying, talking to him, get him to stay. But David stops him and just tells Jack to have a good summer and keep in touch.
I that's what I questioned.
Hmm.
You just broke up with them. Then you say keep in touch. What the heck?
I guess that's like a different version, like of we can remain friends kind of thing.
Okay, not every person that becomes your ex you need to be in contact with.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that's all I could think of for that.
Because it
And
threw me
then,
off. I'm like, David, he clearly, quote, hurt you. So why do you want
Mhm.
to keep in touch with this person?
Right. Well, he
That's what
figures,
I can't figure out.
he figures if CJ and Ben are gonna be together, they'll probably run into each other anyhow. So,
Yeah, they can run into each other. Doesn't mean they need to stay in each other's lives. Plus, if David if David could get jealous of Jack still talking to someone, right
hmm.
before he breaks up with them, he's gonna have these feelings. And then he's gonna see Jack with someone else, and then he's gonna get jealous again, even though they're not together. So I don't get how they can remain friends. I mean, look at Dawson and Joey. These two cannot remain friends. I mean, they haven't been friends since they slept together.
Hmm.
So they can't, just some people just can't be friends.
Right. And then in Joey's dorm room, they just talk about what places they should go.
Ugh.
But and that's when Joey mentions about her love for the arts. We haven't heard that in a really long time, but she wants to see everything.
Um, so when they're going on and on,
Hmm.
all I could think about was who was paying for this trip.
Yeah, well, apparently they'll only need $5 a day, but I don't know.
Okay, but for the whole summer,
Hmm.
that adds up. Plus,
Yeah.
you need to fly there, so and back. So
Hmm.
that's also going to cost you money. So I'm just wondering who's paying for this
Right.
because Eddie doesn't have a job
Hmm.
and Joey, we haven't seen her work at Hell's Kitchen.
Well,
So I don't know who's paying for this. And then, um, I mean, it was weird when she said about like running away together as
hmm.
like a bad, like they're running,
Right.
as in like trying to escape something. And it's like all he's trying to do is go on vacation with you.
Hmm.
She's turning it into something else.
Yeah, and she said it isn't easy as it looks on TV, and she's done it before. So,
Yeah, yeah, we know.
do you
Because
think that
we,
she would know the reality of it, so she would be kind of more for it than against it?
so you said that it would make Joey want to go with him
Yeah.
because she ran away with Pacey.
Hmm.
Um, but I think she learned to be a little bit realistic.
Hmm.
Um, because she says it. about basically running away because she says, and it was weird too, because she said, when you come back to reality,
Mhm.
you have to, it's not basically the fairy tale.
Right.
And then she goes a step further and says, and then, there's people that you have to see again and stuff. And I'm like, what's that supposed to mean, Joey?
Right.
I was like, because we remember when she came back, it was all about Dawson, but who is she talking about now?
I don't know.
I
Pacey,
thought
maybe?
she, I know, but I thought she ended it between both guys. So who is she referencing?
I don't know.
Yeah, that was questionable. But I do think she's realistic, like she learned the first time
Hmm.
because she tells him, um, let's work for a month or two, then go. As
Right.
in they need money. Because
Hmm.
he says, um, we're broke, so what? And I'm like, if you're both broke, how can you go to Europe for the whole summer?
Hmm.
There is not even a chance that if you're broke, you can go for a weekend, let alone, because you got the plane tickets. I don't believe this at all. Like if you are that broke, you can't go.
Well, no, they mean like afterwards they'll be broke. So they spend their
They're
money on the
broke
travel.
now. Eddie has no money because also then he has no job.
Well, we don't know how long he was gone for. He could have maybe got something when he was
Well,
there really quick
okay, but
before
why
coming
isn't he
back
there working?
because he wanted to come back to travel and see
Okay,
Joey.
but that just means that he wouldn't have a job then
Hmm.
because nobody is going to let you off for that long
Right.
to go explore your life. And I don't think he has a job because he even said, well, we can work, like we're going to be working the rest of our lives. We don't need to work right now. So that's what I mean. I don't think he has a job. But Um, so I do think she is putting somewhat of reality in there by, you know, bringing up the obvious.
Hmm.
Basically they don't have, they can't just run out and free and, you know, live in Europe because again, well, I just don't get where the money's coming from. And then I mean, it's not like they say we've saved money up.
Hmm.
That would have shut all my questions down, but they didn't. So it just makes me believe that they have no money to, you know, to
Hmm.
go. But it was weird because she said um like about throwing her previous life experience away.
Right.
I was like, what life experience do you have?
Yeah, but and he's not even asking her to do that.
No, but what is she talking about?
Just, I guess, throw away who she is and just take this kind of risk.
Yeah, but she said life experience.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not like she's Jen and have all this life experience from New York. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
All the good, bad, ugly. She just she's been in Capeside, and even when she's in Capeside, she doesn't even explore the town. She just stays at her house reading books.
Hmm.
Oh, I don't know. I don't get it, but okay. So I do think here when they're going back and forth, you can tell she doesn't want to go.
Right. Yeah. And she's finding every reason not to.
Which she should, because again, he might leave you.
Hmm. And then they do get into an argument about if she wants to even go. And she says, of course she does.
Mhm. Of
Even though
course
she
she
just,
doesn't.
yeah, given him a million reasons why she didn't.
Well, and those are just words, they're not actions.
Hmm. And then Eddie gets into it with her about she only wants to go on her terms and all that. And she talks about throwing her life off course just from going with him, even though that wouldn't even happen.
I know. That's what I mean. I don't understand this because it's not like he's asking you to drop out of school for the year and go.
Yeah.
It's for the summer,
Yeah.
your summer break.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand how you'd be throwing your life away.
Mm-hmm.
For what?
Yeah, and then she brings up like stories and poems and how those are just fantasies and not real life, just point out anything she can to show them that they shouldn't go instead of just saying no at this point.
Yeah, she was annoying me.
Mm-hmm.
But also for him, she's giving you this much backlash, right? Of not
Right.
going.
Mm-hmm.
So I continue this fight with her. Like she doesn't want to go. She's saying all this stuff. Just shut up, Eddie. She doesn't want to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Now,
so then after
but okay, I have a question.
mm-hmm.
If Dawson would have come forward and offered this, if Pacey would have offered this, do you think she would have went with them?
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I mean. She's not supposed to be with Eddie then. If
Mm-hmm.
she is having this much doubt, but she would have went with those two, then it just proves that she's not supposed to be with Eddie.
Right.
And she doesn't really like him enough
Mm-hmm.
to spend that much time with him.
Mm-hmm.
Because also, she knows that wait, does she know Dawson's in Cape Side?
I don't know.
I mean, they don't talk, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure she knows that if she goes back to Cape Side, she'll get to see Dawson for the summer
Mm-hmm.
and probably Pacey too.
Right.
So, yeah. But yeah, this is throwing me off because she's gonna go with Eddie of all people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so after that argument, she tells Eddie to go find somewhere else to sleep tonight.
Um, which she should have done when he outed her father going to prison in front of
Mm-hmm.
the whole auditorium.
Yeah, they're lucky that thing wasn't recorded in some way either.
I
Or
mean,
social media
maybe it
or
was.
or social media wasn't a thing, so like it couldn't get out even more. But yeah,
It could have been videotaped by somebody.
like who?
Well, there was video. You don't have tapes of you when you were young and stuff. I mean, videotapes was a thing.
Yeah, but I mean at the event.
I'm saying you can
I,
videotape at an event,
I don't
like
think
your
you were
video
allowed to.
camera.
I don't think you were allowed to, and it was really big to even hide it.
I'm sure the help center maybe did.
Well, they never mentioned it, so no.
Um, but yeah, I mean that's when she should have said you need to sleep somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I don't get why we're even having this whole thing with Eddie because she should have dumped him last episode.
And then Pacey goes to work, and everything's quiet in the office, so he goes into Rich's office,
You mean
and that's what
after he
happened.
spent the whole time sleeping with what's her face?
Yeah, Rich calls her Lois Lane, and apparently, yeah. So the investment was this new vaccine, and the FDA rejected it, so now they lost all their money.
Um, so when Pacey's talking to Rich,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and Pacey's like, well, what's going on and stuff, and Rich goes, what do you think, dumbass?
Right.
Oh my God. Now when Rich tells Pacey that the deal went south
Mm-hmm.
and then everybody lost their money, now you gotta talk to your clients, blah 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 blah. Pacey gets upset and tells Rich, like, I trusted you, and because you said this was gonna be a done deal and all this. And I'm like, Pacey, why would you trust Rich? Of all
Mm-hmm.
people,
Yeah.
he is the worst person to trust.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you trust him? Like, why would you put all your trust in Rich? I don't get it at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's what I don't understand is he's a jerk and he has been. So that threw me off. I was like, you really trusted him? Okay. I didn't think Pacey trusted him that much. I
Right.
thought Pacey was always just trying to get on his good side to keep his job, but I didn't
Mm-hmm.
think he was really trusting him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Pace is all worked up because of Dawson's money, and Rich is just telling him to calm down because he's seen worse and just to call his
Well,
clients.
well, yeah, then he was talking about the clients and everything, and he said, just remember, they got themselves into this mess, not you.
Right.
Mm, not
I think it's kind of
everybody.
both. Yeah.
I mean, I do feel like, I mean, even millionaires, okay, because
Hmm.
they're acting like, okay, people lost money, but they got money, they're rich. That
Hmm.
doesn't matter if you have money or not. You still lost money.
Right.
And anybody would be upset, first of all. So, all the clients I get. And also, when you're putting money into investments and stuff,
Hmm.
you trust that person.
Yep.
That's why you're doing it. So, when Rich says, well, they did it to themselves, no, because you talked them into it.
Hmm.
You told them that this was great. This was the deal that they were supposed to do. So no, you're half to blame for this because yes, they gave you the money to invest, but you told them this was a good idea.
Right.
Like if I'm investing money, you
Hmm.
better be telling me that this is a bad deal
Right.
instead of this is a great deal, you should do that. I don't believe that at all.
Hmm.
And so I really had an issue with Rich because he's blaming all of these clients when look at yourself. You're the ones that encourage these people to throw all their money into this. It's pretty
Hmm.
stupid.
Yeah.
I'm saying for them, not for the clients, because the clients trusted every worker there. They
Right.
trusted.
Hmm. And then back at Worthington, Hudson walks into his office where Joey's waiting for him. And,
Why is she
he's
meeting with them?
for her final grade. I guess
It
like a
couldn't just be
close,
posted. They actually have to have a meeting.
I guess, yeah, close interview, I guess, or some kind, like she was when she first met him. I think it was just to come full circle with the conclusion of this interaction with them. Yeah, so apparently she did ace her final after all, like she felt like she did. She ended
Um,
up getting a C
C
plus.
plus, yeah. And then did you slightly above average?
Mm-hmm.
And then Joey's major is going to be English.
Yep, I guess so.
Now it was weird because he brings up when they first met and it was her birthday, and he's like, "Sorry, I didn't get you anything," and I'm like, "What? This is so weird."
Mm-hmm. And then he asked how her birthday was.
Now I did think it was funny when she was ready to leave and she said, "We can continue this next semester," and he's like, "If I like, I would ever let you in my class again." And then she
Mm-hmm.
said, like, I'd ever want to be in your class.
Right. And then they talk about the Catch 22 book and her essay, and then he has her read a little part of it. And I think that's the part that made her realize she does want to go on the trip with Eddie now to take that risk. And so I think that's why they brought the whole book into this episode in the first place, I guess, to
Hmm.
have it tie up with her English class and Eddie. So then she says she has some place to be, but even if she never sees him again, Hudson, she'll be fine with that,
So that means no more Joey and Harley.
I guess. Can't say it might be different, next season because there is no next season. So who knows? So when was the last time she saw Harley?
At the dance.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised because they don't usually have like any goodbyes, a lot of characters, unless they're
No,
really in a relationship.
they
Yeah.
just disappear.
Mm-hmm. And then Pacey is sitting outside with Sadia talking about the investment going, falling through. And, she's shocked that he actually has a soul and not is,
Well,
the one of
she
richest
says,
sharks.
well, and then she says that's part of being a broker. And
Yeah.
he said, that's not acceptable to me.
Mm-hmm. And he has to fix it.
Um, well, because he's talking about Dawson, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like in this moment, old Pacey's coming out, the one with the heart.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see how bad it's turning for him. But yeah, I don't really think she was the best at giving advice
Mm-hmm.
because she was just kind of like, whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then she wants to ask some more questions later. I don't know if we ever are going to see that, but she said she can't uh, do
She
it
has a
tonight because,
fiance.
yeah,
Well, yeah,
apparently,
he goes, yeah, he's like, oh, because you're going with your boyfriend. She goes, my fiance. It's like,
mm-hmm.
yesterday he was your boyfriend. Today he's your fiance.
Yeah.
This is worse
Mm-hmm.
because she's supposed to supposedly getting married.
Right. Yeah. So apparently it's a long distance thing, and she said
That
it's
was,
it's boring.
I didn't like that she said it's a long distance thing because I don't care if he lives 5 minutes away or,
5,000 miles away.
yeah, I don't care. You're still engaged to this person. If you don't want to be with this person, break up with them.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yep.
I just hate people that are like, oh, like out of sight, out of mind, and all of this. No, you're
Yeah.
with that person. If you want to move on and be with somebody else, break up with them.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, that's what Dawson should have done with Natasha.
Yep.
Break up with them and then sleep with whoever you want to sleep with.
Mm-hmm. And she even tells Pacey to call her if he needs to talk to somebody. So that's kind of like David with Jack, like this is kind of over now, but you can still talk to me.
Well, all she wants to do is sleep with them. She don't care about them,
Mm-hmm.
which is weird because I don't know. At some point, it did kind of seem like she cared,
Right.
but now, nope. She just wants to sleep with them.
Mm-hmm. And then at the call center, Jen finishes up a call and checks on Jack, who's been sitting on the couch nearby, and
Did you hear what he said?
about what?
He said, "I never really cared about school."
Right.
I was
And she's,
like, well, we know that because
mm-hmm.
you failed. You were failing last year. And
Mm-hmm.
this year, we really haven't seen you in school.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I believe you don't care.
Right. Yeah, because Jen says either you failed an exam or things didn't go well last night. And then, he asked Jen if he was only with David to prove something to himself that he could actually be in a relationship, have a boyfriend, and they go into it about like, he's still young, he can still find somebody. You don't meet your love of your life when you're young
Yeah.
necessarily.
In high school, when you're 25, 35.
Mm-hmm.
Some people do.
And then
He brings up CJ
yeah.
and how David said that Jen and CJ were going to be together
Mm-hmm.
forever.
Yeah.
Um, and because CJ makes her happy.
Mm-hmm. And they gave
And
hope
she
both
said,
to Jack and David.
yeah, and she said, he does make me happy, even when things are crappy.
Mm-hmm. And
Which
then
again, we don't even see CJ. It's in
right.
and out, this relationship.
Mm-hmm. And then she even tells Jack that she would share CJ if she could with him. And then there's a scene where Pacey after this only has Dawson left to call, but then he goes to see Rich, try to figure this out,
Well,
ask him for a
how did
loan.
you like when his secretary or whatever was like, was Dawson on the phone? Was he? Let's see.
No,
Yeah.
no, he asked him who was left to call, and she said Dawson or Leary.
No. So this scene. When Pacey goes to talk to Rich.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he was talking about how he needs money,
Mm-hmm.
as I'm rolling my eyes. Um, he needs money, because basically he messed up and took his friend's money, put it in there, blah blah blah. Um, and it was weird because he goes, like Dawson is my oldest and closest friend.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this that comment is laughable. I'm sorry, their friendship, it's definitely not what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, it's kind of like, now how can you move on from here as friends?
Right.
Like
Well,
if you
Pacey.
screwed me over with money, Cynthia, there is
Mm-hmm.
no way I would talk to you again. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, but they fight, but
Mm-hmm.
Pacey Pacey called Rich a prick
Mm-hmm.
because Rich was saying no.
Right.
I, okay, I know how much I hate Rich, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you can't call someone that because they're not going to loan you money?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't loan you money either. You are the employee.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they're friends and then I'm just going to loan you money. I mean, this is a boss employee relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to your boss saying, "Give me money."
Right.
That does who does that? And then to call him a prick because he's not giving you money. What?
Mm-hmm.
You can't. I don't. I just can't with this because Pacey was definitely in the wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, Rich is the boss.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
then
think.
Rich says Pacey's been a complete ass like this whole time that he's
Mm-hmm.
known him. And I'm like, huh? He's been your like little sidekick.
Yeah.
So I didn't understand that one either because I was like, but Rich, you wanted him to be just like you. You said you see yourself in Pacey. So what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Pacey made that prick comment because before that, Rich had said that he forgot how young he is with how good he's so good with how well he does his job. He forgot how young and stupid he is, so he was coming back at Rich with that comment.
Well, I also took it as he ain't giving him the money because he was, but I just don't get why Pacey would think that Rich would give him money. First of all, it's Rich. Secondly, no boss is going to give you money.
Mm-hmm.
And
And then,
also, this is your rock bottom.
mm-hmm. And
Uh,
then Rich keep,
If, because, okay, here's the thing. If Rich
mm-hmm.
bailed him out,
Yeah,
what's that going to teach him?
right.
Nothing.
Yeah, that's the same thing that Pacey was trying to do with Audrey or did with
Yeah.
Audrey.
And I said he should have let her fall, and he
Mm-hmm.
didn't. And now he wants someone to do it for him. And that is just not how it works, Pacey. This is the real world.
Mm-hmm.
See, I can be hard on him.
Right. Yeah, Rich is pushing Pacey now because he says to mark this day forward as him not amounting to anything and he's a
Oh.
failure and a loser and deserves everything. But then Pacey, stops him before he can even finish that sentence and punches him against the computer monitor.
No, he did a good job. He was bleeding.
Yep, his lip.
Now, Rich did go too far by saying that.
Mm-hmm.
He should have shut up after you've been a complete ass. He should have shut up then. But to say that he's a loser failure won't add up to anything, blah, blah, blah. Um, that was taking it too far.
Mm-hmm.
That reminds me of when the teacher told Pacey that when he was trying to take his exam, remember?
Yep.
So it just takes you back to that. But yeah, Rich was definitely in the wrong by that point.
Mm-hmm.
And you could
And
see it was coming.
mm-hmm. Yeah, so Pacey keeps punching Rich and Rich is like pushing him
You're
off, trying to stop.
fired.
Yep. And yeah, so and I thought they were the only ones in the office, but I think at this point we see other workers in the office, I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody's at work.
Well, I thought it was afterward because it was kind of like dim lighting. So,
No, because remember he was talking to his secretary of who's left, and then he walks in to talk to Rich.
oh, right. Yeah, I thought
So it's
maybe like
still
they're the only
still
ones
during
left.
work.
hmm
So
And
yeah,
then,
it's weird how nobody walks in.
right. And then that's why I thought they were alone. And then Joey walks into the dorm. Audrey's reading that book of Europe and $5.
And she's all excited. I'm going to Europe in her head.
hmm
Till she
And,
looks and sees the note.
yeah.
Now, did you like how when Eddie is reading it,
hmm
it he's kind of doing the whole,
Narration.
yeah.
I mean, it makes sense just because it's his letter, but yeah. Yeah, but basically he said that he doesn't want to regret not going on this trip, and Joey's just not the kind of person that wants to live life without regrets. So maybe she'll prove him wrong one day, or maybe she won't, because some people don't change. And then he does say he does hope for happy ending, and and so to take care of herself. And then during this little voiceover, we see Pacey go back to Cape Side and is looking at Gail's house as the episode ends.
Um, so it was this episode was just okay. So at first I was like, oh, another episode with Jen not being in it. And then
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden we saw her for that one little scene and that was it. And I was like, all right. And then Dawson, that one scene and never seen again.
Right.
And then Jack was barely in it.
Mm-hmm.
It just really focused on Joey's story and Pacey's.
Right.
Which I'm glad that we've closed on Joey and Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
They were driving me nuts.
Yeah.
So I was happy we closed on that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not excited for the future of Pacey
Right.
talking to Dawson.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I mean, what's he supposed to do?
Right. Yeah, I know.
So Cynthia, if you were Pacey, and I don't know if you've seen the next episode, but if you were Pacey, what would you do? You
Um,
just screwed your friend who was your
mm-hmm.
best friend, and
Right.
he told you to basically take his money out. What would you do?
Um, yeah, tell him the truth and maybe figure out a way to pay him back, you know, or something.
But Pacey has no money and he now has no job.
I mean, yeah, after he gets another job to pay him back. What do you think?
Um, I mean, yeah, he definitely needs to tell Dawson the truth and apologize.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, but I do think too, he needs to tell him that he was wrong.
Right.
I should have listened to you
Mm-hmm.
when you said to take the money out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't understand either why he invested all of his own money, all of his money.
Right. Yeah.
That was a stupid move.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and which I think is why Rich said it because when he said, well, use your own money. And he was
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't have any. I invested it all. And it was like, well, that was
Mm-hmm.
stupid.
Yeah.
So it's like, I get why Rich said it because you don't do that. I'm not a broker, but I know you don't do that.
Right.
Um, so yeah, do you think Pacey and Dawson could be friends after this?
I don't know. It was really bad after everything with Joey, so maybe not. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing is, I don't really think that has gone away. Because
Mm-hmm.
if that was the case, they would be best of buds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So because they aren't, and they're still walking on eggshells with each other, this is only going to sink the ship.
Right.
And I don't think that they can be friends. In my opinion, I think this was it.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think they can be friends after this
Mm-hmm.
because there was no trust from the whole Pacey and Joey.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's no Dawson said it. I trust you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, who's eating what words?
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, if Dawson does take him back as his friend,
Mm-hmm.
it would be surprising.
Yeah.
Realistically, so TV wise, yeah, you want them to stay friends, right? But realistically, if someone screwed me that bad, no.
Right.
Would you be friends with someone if they did that to you?
No.
Especially because Pacey is new. He didn't know what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
He was listening to all these people that were saying, "Oh, this is great. This is great." And that was business talk. That wasn't real talk.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but also Dawson, went to Pacey, though, and told him to invest the money.
Right.
So it is somewhat his fault because Pacey did say no, don't
Mm-hmm.
do it.
Right.
But I do think that part of it is Dawson's fault. But when he said to take it out, that should have been the end.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's on both of them, I think,
Right. Yep.
but it should have been over with.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. I'm just getting my
So,
charger.
so for me, the high was, oh God, um, Eddie leaving.
Mhm.
Um, the low was Pacey fighting with Rich. I mean, actually fighting with Rich. Because Rich would be the guy that would press charges.
Yep.
And Pacey's already at rock bottom. And
Mm-hmm.
now he's got to tell Dawson. And Rich could press charges. So,
Yep.
um, which is really bad. So anyway, that's my high and low. What about you?
Yeah, my low would be Pacey fighting with Rich and getting himself fired. Even though I'm kind of surprised that didn't happen with the investment thing because he kind
Yeah,
of
but
because I
everybody
know
screwed somebody over.
I know just like it just seems like if Pacey would have invested all the money with Dawson and his own money that maybe he did that with other clients too, and I feel like that just would be a bad move in general to do in your job like that,
Yeah,
you
but
know?
Pacey could say that's what they wanted.
Yeah, that too. I don't know. I'm just
Well,
thinking.
especially because Dawson gave him the amount. He didn't
Hmm.
say, Dawson said, I want to invest everything. And Pacey's like, eh. So that would be up to the clients of how much they want to invest. Pacey was just
Hmm.
to invest all of his own money. I mean, that's
Yeah.
on
Hmm. And then the high was well, I did like seeing Joey happy about going on the trip for that one moment. Then I also did like her seeing her find out that she did pass the test, yeah, that pass the test and pass the class. So then rating,
him. Oh, God. A 5. I
mm,
didn't like it. What about you?
yeah, like a 6.
I mean, there also wasn't that much of it happened.
Hmm.
Um, and then who was your best and worst?
Well, worst is Rich because he took it too far with Pacey, saying that. Um, and then the best is Pacey because he did try to do the right thing with Dawson and try to get the money, even though it was really dead end way to do it. But he was just trying to make Dawson as much money as he could and just took it too far. And yours? What?
You said Pacey was the best.
Yeah, I mean, I know he did something bad, but he was just like his intentions were good. He just didn't do it right.
Oh my God. Okay.
But a lot of
So,
people weren't really doing a lot this episode.
oh, I know. So for me, I picked Pacey as the worst.
Okay.
Uh, because he should have pulled the money out when Dawson wanted to, which
Hmm.
then would not have screwed Dawson. He
Hmm.
should not have physically had an altercation with his boss.
Yeah.
Because again, he can press charges. And then why are you asking for money to
Right.
cover for Dawson?
Hmm.
So Pacey was just I didn't like the Pacey that he turned into in this episode.
Hmm.
But he was just making all the wrong choices.
Hmm.
And then the best, I literally was like, who is the best in the episode?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, we barely seen half of them, and
Hmm.
I didn't care for the other ones.
Right.
So I picked Joey as the best because she was being realistic when it came to Eddie and the trip.
Hmm.
And then she got the courage to go, until it fell apart.
Hmm.
So that's why I picked her as the best.
Okay. Yeah.
And she encouraged Audrey to go and put herself in summer school,
Yep.
which again, she didn't have to do.
Hmm.
And then what's the next episode?
Episode 21, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road.
Cynthia, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Are you ready for it?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just wondering why the title, like, does it have something to do with Wizard of Oz or?
Yellow Brick Road.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if like Dawson, like that was his movie that he was watching at the moment for inspiration or something.
His inspiration is Creek Days.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I don't know, just something else in that movie.
Um, I mean, have you seen the next episode?
Yeah.
Are you excited about that scene?
Well, I'm surprised I didn't end up with them fighting physically too.
I
But yeah.
know this show, they don't give me what I want. I want
Hmm.
fist fighting.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, other shows, they give me fist fighting, and I love it.
hmm Yeah.
Because you can't see it in real life, so I want to see it on TV in my fictional life, you know?
hmm
All right. Thanks for listening.
Yep. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of Duo Chat. If you want to chime in with your opinion about the episode and the show we discussed, you can email us at duochatpodcast@gmail.com. And to keep up with updates about the podcast, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube at Duo Chat Podcast. And give us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. We would appreciate it.